Hello and welcome back to the latest episode of the YouTube channel. So today's episode is going to be teaching you how to use neuromuscular electrical stimulation. Now that's a bit of a mouthful, so going forward I'm just going to use the term NMES. So I had a Compex after my ACL reconstruction. This is one of the main brands. It is quite expensive. This is the bottom end Compex, the 1.0, which was about £170 in a Black Friday sale. Top end one, I think it's the 8.0, it's about 800 quid. Now, realistically, most people aren't going to be spending 800 quid on it. So if you can access that, perfect. It's a wireless one, but this was more than good enough for me. And the clients I work with, a lot of them buy a cheaper one for about 25 quid and report good benefits from it. So I'm going to be talking about using NMES as a whole rather than just about how to use a Compex. So the same principles will apply. So it's probably worth just talking about what NMES is and what it's used for. Now, in my opinion, everybody should be using this post-surgery. There shouldn't be any reason why you shouldn't. The benefits of using it will far outweigh the benefits of not using it, so it's well worth the investment, in my opinion. Now, the first mistake people make is they get themselves mixed up with TENS and NMES. Now, TENS specifically works on the sensory nerve, so it's designed for pain relief. So it sends messages in the sensory nerve to basically inhibit pain and make pain easier. So it has its use in ACL recovery still, but that's not what we use in NMES for. NMES specifically targets the motor nerves, so the nerves that are responsible for contracting the muscle. Now, you probably may or may not have heard of the term arthrogenic muscle inhibition. Now, this is going to be your biggest enemy post-surgery and something that you really need to work on overcoming. And NMES is a great strategy for overcoming that. Now, essentially, arthrogenic muscle inhibition is a protective mechanism from your body. So when the body goes through a level of trauma and you get swelling, which you will do after surgery, the nerve supply to the muscle shuts down and the muscle essentially switches off, because if you can use your muscle normally and you start using your knee normally when it needs to recover, then you're likely to do more damage. So it is a good thing, but it's not something that we allow to get better naturally on its own. It's something we should be actively trying to improve, and if you don't take that approach, then that's where you're going to run into a lot of problems. And like I say, this is where this tool is really helpful for improving it. And that's exactly what it is. It's a tool. It's not designed to do the work for you. So regardless of what I say today in this episode, having one of these and spending money on one of these doesn't replace a good quality rehabilitation program in the early stage, you being accountable, doing it as much as you need to, and applying yourself to it. So if you get one of these and you're passive, which is the main mistake, I'll talk through that, the results are still going to be negligible and you probably won't get the benefit that you need to. So when to use it post-surgery? Now, I used mine from day 0, or it would have been day 1 actually, because I had the surgery on the 9th and then I came home on the 10th. And the first thing I did, I got on the couch and I got one of these, and that's because I know the value and the benefit of using one. I went into the mindset of the surgery and post-surgery that I need to rescue my quads. And if you go in with that mindset, then you're going to apply yourself and hold yourself accountable to your rehabilitation program and stop the negative effects of muscle inhibition and muscle wastage post-surgery. Now, inevitably it's going to happen, but we can minimize and manage it if we apply ourselves properly. Right, so I'm just going to teach you how to use the NMES and the first steps with it. So obviously you're going to be day 0 or day 1 post-surgery, and you're not going to be very mobile. There's going to be a lot of pain. You might be non-weight bearing, you might not be able to weight bear. So you're going to be sofa bound. It's going to be difficult to get up, on and off the floor. So I did this essentially exactly like this. Day 1 it was, got back, first thing I did, grabbed the Compex, popped it on and started attacking my exercises. Now, you're going to need some sort of cushion and a towel for this, because we're going to talk you through how to do it both actively and passively and how to get leverage from it. So if you've got a cushion towel or a foam roller, something like that, where you can prop your heel up. And you can see that I've already got the pads on. So I had plasters over this bit on the inside, so I couldn't get the pad where I've got it now, because that's where one of the incisions were. So just don't overthink where you're putting the pads. Ideally, you should have 2 as close to the bottom end as possible on the inside and the outside, and then 2 a little bit further up. So exactly as I've done. One of the main questions I get asked is where do I place the pads, and I think people overthink it. Just get it on, try and get the muscle contracted and working. Otherwise, you end up doing nothing and overthinking things. So essentially, you will just clip it up. Like I say, I don't know what other brands are like too much in terms of the setup, because I've only really used Compex. So I would clip them on, and then I would set it up. They have a men and a women's one. I don't know why it should be any different for men and women's. So I would just go to the men's one, regardless whether you're man or woman, male or female, strengthen quads, and then it will start to pulse, and you can just ramp it up. Now, it does feel a tiny bit stingy. There's a warm-up setting. Ramp it up as high as you can tolerate, and you start to see your muscle pulsate. So I'm doing absolutely nothing at the minute. This is the NMES doing all the work for me. And it's fine just to be a little bit passive with this one. You can just let it, you can just let your kind of quad get used to it. It does become a bit more numb, the kind of stingy pulsating feeling that you get. So I've rammed that up to, I can't remember what it was post-surgery, it might have been about 120. That's a tiny bit uncomfortable, more stingy from the shock rather than the muscle contraction. And the mistake that people make is they'll just sit here through the full cycle. It'll get to big contraction shortly and just let it do all the work. And that is not how you get the benefit from this. So the main benefit is you're going to tense your quad with it. Now, when I tense my quad, it's a lot less painful as well. So that you actively contracting is going to help. Not painful, but uncomfortable. Like that's more uncomfortable than if I contract. And it normally takes, I think it's around the 17-minute mark that it will get to the big contractions. Just be careful that you don't put it on too high before it gets to the big contractions, because it might shock you. So I'm just going to pop this down ready. Now, the reason you use the wedge or the cushion is because we want to try and facilitate that hyperextension. So if your knee's swollen and restricted, just elevating the heel and letting it hang will start to stretch the back of the knee. So the joint capsule, just be careful if you've had a hamstring graft, you're not tugging on the hamstring and that's uncomfortable, because you don't want to stretch the hamstring so early on. I didn't have that problem. I was absolutely fine when I propped my heel up. And then the towel is essentially to leverage more hyperextension. So you get ready to wrap it round. But I'll just talk you through active first. So it should be coming any second now, and I'm going to squeeze with it. So as it starts to contract, here it comes. I'm going to squeeze with it. And then I'm going to try and squash that knee down. Imagine I'm trying to crush an egg. Contract the quad, and you can see as I contract the quad, the heel will want to come up, and that's how you get that heel pop. So it's going to contract now, squeeze. Like I say, you're going to struggle because of the swelling, but as long as you can get some form of contraction, and you'll find if you struggle to do a straight leg raise, which you will do early on because it'll be too painful and your quads won't be functioning properly, after you've done a session on this, you might be able to lift your leg up. I think I could barely do 3 one day and did a session and was able to do 40. So I'm squeezing with it. And I was quite aggressive with it. Now, some people, particularly if you're hypermobile, might not be able to be as aggressive as I was. But as it comes, I just squeeze as hard as I can with it. Just be careful you're not getting any pain at the front of the knee. So like I say, if you are hypermobile, fat pad can get a bit irritated if you're too aggressive with it. Like I say, I was one of the fortunate ones where I could just go all out and I wasn't getting any knee pain. And then you ramp it up, so I'm on 40 there. Oof. So it's not pleasant, but I think anything that improves you it's not meant to be easy. And then you squeeze hard you can. Like I say, I'm working with it, not letting it do all the work. And if you start doing this straight away, that's where you'll make the big gains. And then you can use the towel. Got me. To wrap round and do a passive extension with it as well. So wrap it round as you squeeze, pull up with the towel, squash that egg under your knee, and then pull up. Again, just being mindful of any pain at the front of the knee. And this will accelerate your ACL recovery in the early stage massively. So if you imagine you can't get this contraction like you can without it, then you're just going to be losing more muscle mass. It's going to get harder, and those pathways to the muscle just keep dampening down. So the lower the baseline, the longer it takes to get it back, the harder it is. Now we can use this with all our initial stage exercises. So I've just put this in my pocket. So in the early stages, your main goals are going to be getting your extension back, getting your flexion back, and then improving your walking gait, improving your ability to walk on crutches. Now, one of the best ways to do this is practicing that heel strike. So as you put the heel down, time it with the NMES, and then you can practice. Oh, I can't bend my knee when it's full contraction. But you can essentially squeeze up, and then as it does the big contraction, you can then time your heel strike with it, and this will help improve your walking. This is what I did. This is what people often lack in the early stages. They walk with a bent knee and they never regain that extension that you almost that kind of locking mechanism in the knee when you're walking. And it'll just facilitate that process, just make it a bit easier, rather than just being passive on that bent knee, which everybody does. So this is where you need to do active gait practice. So spend some time during the day actively practicing that heel strike on your crutches. You only need to do it for 30-60 seconds. It's kind of 30 meters in total, just regularly throughout the day. And then obviously as you get better on your feet, you can do it more often or for longer. And then we can also do it on other exercises like your wall sits. Oh. So when you do your isometric wall sits, again, this is a good exercise in the early stages to start overcoming that inhibition. So get some load through the quad. You can progress to split stance or single leg, and that will help encourage that contraction and just build that tolerance in your knee. So if you're not back at the gym yet, this is a good way to use it. Now you can take this into the gym if you're confident enough. Most people don't like to because they scared of how they look, but I can guarantee you care more about yourself and how you look than other people think. I think people think it's pretty cool or more interested than anything. But this is how we can use it. And just hold, get the contraction, and then you can just adjust your position. You know, go a little bit higher. I struggled with pain at the front of my knee early on, so I really struggled with this. And even if you do get yourself a ball, pushing into the knee, pushing into it, that can help. So again, this replicates kind of a leg press, help with that muscle burn, that muscle pump. Really simple exercise we can do. Squeeze. So you can see you can use it for almost anything in the early stages, but it's really helpful for getting that quad working. So hopefully that episode was helpful for you, just to give you kind of an overview of what NMES is, why we use it, and the value of it, particularly in the early stage. Really get the quads working, get the quads firing. Obviously, if there's any questions, then you can drop a message in the comments below, or you can DM me at rickwilliams_ACL coach on Instagram. And obviously, if you're interested in more ACL content, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate all the following and support that I can get.